of EIR, our chairman, as well as the attendees, to our speaker of the day, CA Dipti Jain ji. But before she start deliberating her session on the topic for the day, I will ask our present chairman, Vishnu Tulsian ji, as well as Nitesh Morji, to address the audience regarding the program as well as the overview. Over to you, sir.
Uh, Thank you so much, Amit. Because the time period of this program is only 1 hour, in which we give 45 minutes to the speaker, 10 minutes to the question session, and 5 minutes for the formalities. So already we are 10 minutes late. So simply want to say, I am very much happy that Dipti Madam has consented to be one of the speaker. And Amit, you are taking this event very well. I am so happy with you, and I am so happy that we have such a dedicated person of the ERC. So of course, in the coming Golden Jubilee Conference, we will doing wonder. This I am totally committed with these feelings. So thank you so much, Amit, for giving the opportunity. And participant, please be the part of ERC, Vibrant ERC, and do not miss to any activity of the ERC for which I am committed. When whatever suggestion you have, whatever idea you have, please share with us, and we will definitely will try to implement it in the root level. Thank you so much for coming. Over to Amit.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words. I will request Nitesh, sir, to just have an outlook and briefing and address all of us along with the Dipti ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you so much. The topic today is perhaps the IPO, the capital market. So, how that concept evolved, perhaps in the Rome, in the ancient time when some of the contractor they started selling their shares. The government contractor they started sharing the. So from there the IPO concept have evolved. Then the modern IPO, then we can say that in the 60th century, the Dutch East India Company, they came out with the first IPO. Then the evolve of the stock exchange of New York Stock Exchange in 1972, followed by the London Stock Exchange in 1801. Regarding the India, if you say that in 1977, the Reliance IPO, that was the first IPO. And followed by the SEBI, the establishment of the SEBI in 1992, that and the liberalization that has been taken by the Manmohan government. Then the dot-com bubbles, then the ITs, and now the SME IPOs. So the journey has been so long, and now the comparatively small company, they can also raise the fund. That's the beauty of the small IPOs, that so many companies have already been raised, and they had enjoyed this. So with this, thank you, and I would request the members to kindly register for this. We have the Golden Jubilee, the 50th regional conference of EIRC. So that is going to be happened in the month of November 21st and 22nd. So request the members to kindly register and kindly support the conference, because this is our conference. It is the members that the support of that is required. So request the members to kindly register for that. And we have also the IBC conference on 30th August. Those who are the IPs and interested in IBC, that they also please register for them. Thank you everyone. Thank you, Vishnu.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for giving a brief about the journey of the IPO. So I will now move on quickly to welcome our speaker of the day, CA Dipti Jain ji. She is a chartered accountant by profession, sports enthusiastic, as well as a motivational speaker. CA Dipti brings over a decade of experience in the world of finance. As a vice president of Choice Connect, which is a category 1 merchant banker, she has been involved in over 10 main board IPOs and has 22 more in the pipeline. She has expertise in the area of strategic corporate advisor, handling and guiding corporate in pre-IPO and post-IPO strategies. She also works with corporates, cooperative banks, NBFCs, HNIs, and FDIs in investment. Furthermore, she is passionate about the professional community and is the only female chartered accountant in India running an online platform called Gyan Stations. Today, Dipti ma'am will share her valuable experience to navigate us through the IPO journey, right from the concept to the capital market. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to CA Dipti Jain ji. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Amit ji, for this warm welcome. And first, all the dignitaries on the dais and dear participants, first of all, I would like to express my gratitude towards the chairman of EIRC, Vishnu Tulsian sir, an excellent personality dedicated for the profession. And it's been pleasure meeting such a eminent personality in person in Mumbai. And I recognize and especially thanks the past chairman Nitesh ji also for joining us and sparing time for this session. Thank you, sir, for joining, and Amit ji for all the coordination which you have done wonderfully in organizing this program, and dear participants. So here I take the opportunity to share my learnings and experience with respect to the IPO. So here I start sharing the PPT. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am. It is visible, ma'am.
Just a minute. Full screen?
Yeah, it is the full screen because above the host and those will be appearing.
Yeah.
So this is the full screen, ma'am.
Okay. Just not able to see. So when we go through the IPO, navigating the IPO journey. Just a minute. Okay. So let's start with the IPO journey. What is an IPO? IPO is initial public offering, and what we are going to cover in today's 1 hour session is why IPO is important, the current market trend in the IPO, listing platforms which are available in India, and the listing criterias. We'll go through the complete process of IPO. Yeah. We'll go through the complete process of the IPO journey and the deliverables which are required in the IPO, and how to identify the potential companies, be it your clients, that they are eligible to come up with an IPO, and last, the merchant bankers. So let's move on. IPOs. IPO is the initial public offering by a private company to get listed on the exchange. It can be NSE or BSE. We all are professionals, everyone, be it Gen Zs or youngsters. Now, in today's scenario, everyone goes invest in the capital market, and of course, one or the other way, even if some seniors are, they prefer FDs to be one of the investment option. But let me tell you, the banks also ultimately invest your money in the capital market through mutual funds. So capital market is one thing which nobody, किसी से अछूता नहीं है. Everyone is connected with that one or the other way, directly or indirectly. They are investing their money in the capital market. Moving on, why IPO is required? What is the basic why a company or an organization should go for an IPO? The foremost important thing is to raise money. IPO helps the company to create funds for its future growth, and it is able to build the trust of the public through IPOs, unlocking shareholders' true value. Suppose if a company is private limited, the book value of that share is 100 rupees, valued at 100 rupees. And once that company promoter decides to go for the listing, then the market determines the potential of that company, and maybe it's possibility that company get listed to 450 rupees. So this is the true potential of that company. So unlocking shareholders' true value. So this is how the value of that organization gets determined. It adds liquidity and marketability of shares. Suppose after listing, the company wants to raise further funds for business expansion, then it can sell out those 5% or 2% of their market their shareholding to the market and raise funds without taking any debt loan from the banks. Very importantly, I hope it's all getting. Very importantly, it helps in mergers and acquisitions via share swap. Suppose if a company wants to acquire a new company in the same industry. Suppose company A wants to acquire company B. The demand of the company B is 400 CR. So if the shares are not listed, then individually the price of the shares are determined, and the A company can offer the other company at that 400 shares. But once the company is listed on the exchange, so instead of giving those 400 CR liquid cash to the other company, the company can issue its shares in return to the acquisition of that company. So it makes very easy, it provides liquidity to the company, and those 400 CR company can use for other its working capital requirement or raising other verticals in other business related activities. Then it provides an exit opportunity to private equity investors. IPO provides easy exit opportunity to its investors. जो लोग आईपीओ की जो लोग उस कंपनी से पहले दिन से जुड़े हुए who have worked day in and day out for the growth of that company, the investors who have trusted those business, be it angel investor or private equities, institutions who have invested their money in that in the growth of that company starting from the inception. So they get an opportunity to exit from the company by selling their shares in the market. Also, it provides incentive for employees through ESOPs. See, leaders are working for the organization, but the sweat and the blood is also spent by the its employees, the head of each verticals. So through IPOs, they get the head of each verticals, the employees who are staff who is working for the organization, they get ESOPs, which build trust in the organization. Also, it provides motivation for them because they feel themselves to be the part of the organization, and they feel that now they are working with a listed company. So it's really motivating for the overall organization also. It improves the corporate governance and creates trust. So we all know compliance part. If the company is suppose not listed, then it don't pay much attention towards the compliances, different regulatory requirements, and even if some defaults are there, they are just ignoring. Nobody is noticing it. But once the company is listed, so they become very agile and alert towards the corporate governance, the compliance requirement, and in turn this creates the build the trust on the company. It enhances the credibility and branding. So IPO helps in building the credibility and branding of that company. And as the complete IPO process is designed in such a way that all the compliances, balance sheets, true and fair views, everything is presented and they get recorded in the SEBI. And once the company when it goes under IPO, then many news channels covering there, the big research houses talks about that company, and a complete research is done about the business growth vision of the promoters. So it helps in also in getting the social recognition for the promotions as well as the company itself. Also a tick mark appears Once the company is listed, the company shares is always visible on that national news channels. The name of the company regularly appears, whether the shares is going up and down. And this way, a social recognition, credibility, and branding of the company happens. And also, it helps the promoters to offer OFS opportunity, that is offer for sale. So the promoters, suppose they are holding a good chunk of the shares from the starting, and if they want to get rewarded, so it's a very good opportunity. They can get rewarded by selling 5% or 6% of their current uh, shareholding in the market and take that money back to home. In this way also it is very rewarding for the promoters also. Now moving ahead, what is the current IPO market trend in India? जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. So current market trend. Let's quickly see the what is current market trend in IPO. When we talk about the main board IPOs in 2022, we had around 40 main board IPOs, and the capital raised IPOs valuation was 60,000 crores. But in next 2 years, the number just increased more than 2 times, that is more than 2.5 times growth we have seen. The by 2024, I'm taking the complete last year's figure for how many main board IPOs we had. In 2024 we had 91 main board IPOs, and the capital raised is around 1 lakh 60,000 crores. It's a huge amount. And when we see the SME IPOs trend, just after COVID 2022, we had 192 we had 192 SME IPOs, and we can very well see that the capital amount, IPO amount raised is 1,900, around 1,900 crores. That's a huge chunk which has just the increased multifold by 2024. So in 2024, that is last year only, we had 240 SME IPOs in the market, and the IPO size which increased is 8,700. So you can see how much it's trending, how many investors are increasing. That also you can see by the parameters which I have just shared of the Indian market highlights. So in 20, we had registered unique investors at NSE portal around 3.1 CR. The number increased 3 times by 2025. That is, it's around 10.9 crores. And with respect to the demat accounts at NSDL and CDSL, also doubled multifold. That is 4 crore it was, and now we are having the numbers are increased to 20 crores demat account we are in. To see the potential of growth, how many people are interested in the capital market, the amount of investments which are coming, you will be surprised with that next figure, that is direct retail equity holding value. Retail investors in the capital market has raised from 15 lakh crores to 36 lakh crores. And the mutual fund AUM, which was we were having in was 10.5 lakhs, has just increased in 5 years to 28 lakh crores. So there's a huge potential in the capital market. The market is growing, booming, and it's like we should also look out for the potential clients, where you can figure out the potential clients in and around you, who have the potential of coming up with the IPOs, be it mainboard or SME IPOs. It's a very good time to come up to launch the IPOs, to explore these opportunities. I hope it's clear. Coming on to the next slide. Now, what listing platforms are available in India? So for main board IPO, we have Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchange. And for SME IPOs, there are different. BSE has a small and medium enterprise, and the name of the NSE exchange is NSE Emerge, which is applicable for the SME IPOs. Now, coming on towards the regulatory requirements. Regulatory framework. Just a minute. So you can see from the chart itself that I've created the comparative chart where you can differentiate between the requirement for the main board IPO and the SME IPOs. So in just a minute. So for the main board IPOs, if you want an organization or a company to come up with the main board IPO, then it should have a minimum paid up capital of 10 CR. This is the minimum limit. Upper limit, there is no limit on that. But for SME IPO, the top notch limit is इससे ज़्यादा नहीं हो सकता, that it should not have more than 25 crores post issue paid up capital. Of course, the last 3 years financials are always seen whenever of the organization is seen, and that are considered whether that company is eligible for an IPO or not. The last 3 years financials are very important. Next is minimum IPO application size. In the case of main board IPO, it can vary from 10,000 to 15,000 15,000 rupees, and for SME IPO, the lot size should not be less than 2 lakh rupees. Okay, so at least 2 lakh rupees should be applied for that. The amount should be this, and the minimum number of allottees. जितनों को allotment होगा, तो main board में minimum 1,000 members should be the allottees, and in the case of SME, the requirement is only 200. And very important, minimum tradable unit post listing. Post listing, what is this? So once your share get listed on the exchange, so daily bid and sale, daily purchase and sale of at least one share should always be there. That means one person should be always be there on the exchange who is ready to buy your share, and other is ready to sell that share. So this way transaction, at least one share transaction should always happen in the exchange. And in the case of SME, the condition is one lot. Underwriting requirement. In the case of main board, there is no hard underwriting, not mandatory at all. But in the case of SME, the IPO should be 100% underwritten, and it's that 15% of the underwriting should come from the merchant banker. Merchant banker should be ready for the 15% of its underwriting. Now come for the market making. So for the main board IPO, there is no such requirement of the market making, but for SME, 3 years post listing is important, and market making for a period of 3 years is required. DRHP approval, again, a very important difference. That is for DRHP, that is red herring prospectus, draft red herring prospectus. For main board, the approval and clearance of SEBI as well as the exchange on which you are listing, be it NSE or BSE. इन दोनों से अप्रूवल चाहिए, but for SME IPO, there is no requirement to get your DRHP approved from the SEBI. So only exchange का ही approval चाहिए for DRHP in the case of SME IPO. Now comes to the reporting of financial books. Of course, for main board listed companies, quarterly results are published, and for SME, half-yearly results are there. I hope it's clear. Now coming towards the next eligibility criteria, that is eligibility criteria. We'll discuss about the eligibility criteria for the main board IPO. So there are three. BSE has its own criteria, NSE criteria are different, and SEBI standard criteria, which is applicable for both the exchange. So let's first discuss what is the requirement of the SEBI. So net tangible assets of at least 3 crores in each of the 3 financial years should be maintained. Again, I'm repeating, net tangible asset of at least 3 crores in each of the 3 preceding years. That is not an average. Each year should have 3 crores net tangible asset value. Next, average operating profit of at least 15 crores during the preceding 3 years, with the operating profit in each of the 3 preceding years. EBITDA. आप लोग अगर शार्क टैंक ट्रैक करते होंगे तो द जज ऑलवेज शार्क्स ऑलवेज आस्क अबाउट द ईबीटा क्या है कंपनी का. So this is important because it defines the overall financial risk and growth prospects of the company. So average operating profit, the 3 years का जो average है वो 15 CR, कम से कम 15 CR होना चाहिए, and last 3 years each year should be a profitable year. Every year there should be a positive EBITDA. Net worth of at least rupees 1 crore in each of the preceding 3 full years. So this is the third condition, important condition by the SEBI, that is net worth of at least 1 CR in each of the preceding 3 full years should be there. And in case if you are planning for the name change for your organization or organization, then in the previous year 50% of the revenue should be generated from that new name level. Suppose suppose you are we have just seen it was earlier, suppose XYZ company, now they have changed their name to ABC. So and the total revenue generated from the last year is 100 CR. So at least 50 CR should be generated from the new name ABC. That is the condition. And now coming towards the exchange platforms. So let's discuss about the BSE first. So when you are coming for a main board IPO and you want to go for a listing on a BSE, then minimum post issue paid up capital of the applicant company shall be rupees 10 CR. This is the minimum post issue paid up capital of 10 CR. And next is minimum issue size. मेन बोर्ड का मिनिमम इशू साइज जो आईपीओ का साइज है, इट शुड बी एटलीस्ट ₹10 CR. And minimum market capitalization of 25 crores is required for the company. Now coming towards the NSE. At NSE, the conditions are different from the BSE. Let's go through all of them. The issuing company must have submit to the NSE the annual reports for the last three financial years. Either you take it BSE, NSE, main board, or SME IPO. The last 3 years financials are very important. So you can plan, if you are planning for an IPO for an for any of your client, देन यू शुड थिंक कि इफ अगर 1 साल का कुछ फाइनेंशियल बिगड़ा हुआ है तो अगेन इट विल गेट पोस्टपोन टू, लाइक 1 साल के लिए आईपीओ पोस्टपोन हो जाता है बिकॉज यू हैव टू मेंटेन प्रॉपर रिकॉर्ड्स ऑफ लास्ट 3 years. The company has a positive net worth. The positive net worth condition is applicable only in the case of the companies with an issue size जिनका आईपीओ साइज 500 CR से कम है. Okay. This is the condition for the companies whose IPO size is less than 500 CR. Post-issue paid up equity of the company share should be more than 10 CR, and the minimum market capitalization again the same as BSE. In NSE 25 CR. Very importantly, इसमें एक condition NSE ने additional डाल दी है कि at least one promoter, जो एक promoter should have at least 3 years of experience in the same industry. उसका पुराना past experience should be there in the same industry. And of course, the company should be not a defunct company, no bankruptcy or IBC proceedings going on against the issuer, promoter, or the company itself. So these are the eligibility criteria for the main board IPO. Coming on towards the SME platform. So SME, again we have BSc SME for and NSC Emerge for the SME IPOs. Let's have a comparative table for this. Post-issue paid-up capital should not exceed rupees 25 crore. Same is for NSC also. Net worth here, net worth should be at least rupees 1 crore for 2 preceding full financial years. But no, this is not the condition in the case of NSC. For NSC, they just see the track record of at least 3 years, and company should have a positive net worth. That is enough for NSC. Now coming towards the net tangible asset should be rupees 3 crore in last financial year, but when it comes to the operating profit, EBITDA जो BSc listing में आपको चाहिए should be for at least 2 out of 3 latest financials prior to the application. That will be required, and for EBITDA of rupees 1 crore for at least 2 out of the 3 financial year prior to the application is applicable in the case of NSC. Company should be in operation at least 3 years, and of course the positive free cash flows of the equity for at least 2 out of the 3 financial year proceedings, their IPO application is seen. And when it comes to the debt equity ratio, leverage ratio of not more than 3:1. Leverage ratio means the debt equity ratio, debt to assets ratio, interest ratio, all these ratios are covered under the leverage ratio. So it should not be more than 3:1, because if the leverage ratio is high, means the financial risk involved in the company is high because the debts of the company is more. And if the leverage ratio is low, that shows that it's a low debt company, your financials are safe, and future growth prospects are good. Okay. The condition is common, no regulatory action against that company in any stock exchange, or it should not be a defunct company. Okay. And again, offer for sale, this is important in NSC Emerge. कि OFS क्या होता है? Offer for sale by the promoters by selling shareholders in the SME IPO shall not exceed 20% of the total issue size, and selling shareholders cannot be sell more than 50% of their holdings. Coming towards the next criteria, and again important, this is additional requirements. That is, the company should have clean record, not barred, it should not be law abiding, and must hold the ownership, at least the owners, they should at least own 20% of the company's equity after the IPO. No default criminal proceedings against the company or any of the promoters, and there should not be any restriction in the capital market to participate in the exchange. And this other additional, now very important, IPO process flow. And here comes the complete journey. कैसे एक प्राइवेट कंपनी लिस्टेड हो जाती है, and you get an opportunity to ring that bell on the NSE and BSE with your clients. I have met many auditors, even we have many clients जो अपने ऑडिटर्स हैं, सीए हैं, जो जिनका वो सालों से ऑडिट करते हैं आ रहे थे, उनके साथ उनके पास वो क्लाइंट पिछले 5-10 साल से जुड़ा हुआ था, एंड दे थॉट ऑफ promoting that, they motivated that client for listing, and unka listing bhi hua, and they got that golden opportunity of ringing the bell at the NSE and BSE. So let's go through that journey, how it happens. हर चीज कहाँ से शुरू होती है? Everything starts with the decision. So decision to go for an IPO. First of all, सबसे पहले एक डिसीजन लिया जाता है, एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन टेक्स द डिसीजन कि यस, नाउ आई वांट टू, माय कंपनी, आई वांट टू टेक इट फॉर द IPO जर्नी. आई वांट टू गो फॉर एन IPO and get the shares listed on the exchange. Once the decision is done, then the appointment of the BRLM and the legal counsel, that is book runner, legal manager, lead manager, book running lead manager and the legal counsel. BRLM कुछ नहीं होता, मर्चेंट बैंकर ही होता है. ओके, तो BRLM मर्चेंट बैंकर का अपॉइंटमेंट होता है. देन वंस द मर्चेंट बैंकर इज अपॉइंटेड, the whole process becomes the responsibility of the merchant banker. Merchant banker will get you connected with the legal counsel, and it will just prepare your company organization and make it IPO ready. So that a pre-IPO checklist is prepared, and all the checklist is marked and shared with the organization. All the proper books of accounts, requirements, internal, external systems are established, and all the complete preparation, a proper preparation of last 3 years balance sheets as per the norms of the SEBI is done by the merchant banker BRLM with the help of auditors and of course the organization. After those books are prepared, pre-IPO checklist is done, the due diligence is done. Due diligence is again done by an external agency, and when due diligence is proper done, then it comes the drafting of the red herring prospectus. DRHP is designed, formed by the merchant banker. Once with the help of organization, when the DRHP is okay, then it's filed with the SEBI and exchange. So in the case of main board, it will be the filing will be done with the SEBI and exchange, but in the case of SME, it will go only to the exchange. After SEBI go through all the documents, due diligence, clearance, then we receive, after complete process analysis, SEBI clears your DRHP, and ROC filing is also done. Then SEBI approves you, your organization, कि now you can go for an IPO. Once we get the approval clearance from the SEBI, तो शुरू हो जाता है प्री मार्केटिंग एक्टिविटी. तो सेबी की जिस द डेट फ्रॉम विच वी गेट द अप्रूवल फ्रॉम द सेबी, वहां से ऑन एन एवरेज जो नॉर्मल ट्रेंड है 15 डेज से 1 मंथ के अंदर, विद इन 15 to 1 month your shares get issued. So suppose SEBI clearance is there today. So in next 15 days, a pre-marketing round will be done. Road shows of the company will be done. And it will be all the marketing, the buzz of the share will be created. Hype, more, where so many investor programs will be done. Big broking houses will be invited and will be speaking about the company's growth, prospects, business, vision, their financials, and all the coverage will be done by the news channel also कि ये IPO आने वाला है, this is the possibility we see, what is the growth, whether the investors' money will be multiply, increase, or what will happen to if you invest in this IPOs. So lot of coverage by the news channels, big news channel speakers will be speaking about your organization, like Anil Singhvi, CNBC Awaz. All this business news channel will be covering your organization. You will be invited by them as a promoter to speak about your vision. And this is all how the buzz will get created. After this, after 15 days or 1 month journey, it's a mutual understanding between the merchant banker and the organization. They mutually decide what should be the issue open date. Once they decide the date, the issue, they launch the IPO, and it closes in 3 days. So there's a 3 days. Like today, we had one IPO launched. We have launched today one IPO, and by 25th, 26th, by 27th, it will be closed. So we have already in the process of book building for that IPO is in process, and it's going to be listed both in NSE and BSE. It's a main board IPO which we have launched at Choice today. And now, once the IPO closed, then the pricing and allocation of shares will be there. ROC filing of all the final prospects will be done. And it will take around after closing date, it will take around 4 to 5 days. And then the listing is done of your shares. And your shares will be listed on the exchange, NSE or BSE, whatever you choose, or it can be both. And you will see your shares running in that news channel. Your name, your company name will be regularly appearing. And there's a lot of many other benefits other than that. So this is whole IPO process flow. I hope it's clear and you have enjoyed this IPO journey. Now, how much time it takes? So let's talk about that. Tentative timeline for the IPO. IPO execution tentative timeline is preparation phase. Of course, it's the very it requires a lot of hard work, and everything needs to be streamlined. So it takes almost around 14 weeks for the preparation phase of an IPO. Then the due diligence. The due diligence will take around 1.5 months, and once the due diligence is done, the draft document DRHP will be designed, will be formed, and that DRHP preparation will take again 1.5 months, 2 months. And then the DRHP will be filed to the SEBI, and it will be under observation by the SEBI for around 2 to 3 months. Now the SEBI has become very agile, and they have become very alert. They hardly give permissions to for the IPO. It's not, if you see lot many IPOs coming, it's not like that कि SEBI अभी सबको yes yes बोल रही. SEBI is very strict with respect to approving any IPO, any DRHP, because it's the ultimately the public money which is getting involved. It's the trust of the public common men who is putting their hard-earned money in this. So SEBI is very strict with the DRHP approval. So nowadays it's very hard to get the SEBI approval. It takes around, it's written 8 to 10 months, but it can go to 4 months also if your merchant banker is not good. So choosing a good merchant banker is very important. So finalizing and filing of offer documents. Then once the SEBI observation is done, finalizing and filing of offer document 2 to 3, and then the issue period. Again, as I told, minimum 3 days issue period will be there, and post issue activities 1 week, and the IPO is closed. So overall, it takes around 6 to 10 months for a company to get listed on the exchange. Now, what are the intermediaries which are involved in this IPO? First of all, the center of all the activities is the merchant banker. Merchant banker will get you connected with the legal advisors who are exclusively proactively working with this IPOs and with the SEBIs and everyone. Underwriters, merchant banker ही underwriter होते हैं. So underwriters are merchant bankers appoint the underwriters. They themselves are underwriters. And then market registrar to the issue, broking houses will be appointed, bankers to the issue will be appointed, escrow account कहाँ खुलेगा, कहाँ public का money आएगा. That all process is again bankers will be appointed for your merchant, for your IPO. Market makers will be there. Those who will create the buzz, who will maintain the IPO price, who will market makers will be there. And then PR agencies who will help you to sell your IPO. Because create kar diya, you have a good thing. Being a businessman, everyone understand कि अच्छा माल बना दिया, but it's very important to sell that also. So good PR agencies are appointed to sell your IPO, and this is overall intermediaries which are involved in that IPO process. Next. Now, what are the deliverables in the IPO? What are the requirements? So let's go through all the important. So first is pre-IPO checklist. A financial model is decided for your projections, and be it a discounted cash flow or any model it can be. Then compliance with respect to the corporate governance. Board reconstitution and formation of various committees will be done, and it's this is some of the pre-IPO checklist. More can be there. So this kind of pre-IPO checklist is done. Next is due diligence. Due diligence is very important and very deep analysis, in-depth analysis is done in this. They review whether your organization is compiled with all the legal laws, like commercial, legal, financial, tax, company law, secretarial, all level of due diligence will be, law related due diligence will be done. And then review of capital and corporate structure of the company, employment and KMP. It's a deep analysis of the key management persons and their financials, employment policies, lot, everything will be reviewed, and licenses and approval. If you have received, suppose a company is working in a chemical industry, so whether it has all the approved license, sustainability, and all the environment related licenses are there or not, that will be checked. Also the real and intellectual property documents, that will also be reviewed, ki how many, when the lease is going to end, that company lease, if the factories or the premises are taken on lease, or the where the important HO is working, like all the intellectual and the real property will be checked. And the in litigation level also check will be done. Promoters group and the company's directors, KMPs will be also be done. And of course the indebtedness, business and the insurance policies, whether the business is properly insured, go downs, there's so many, all levels of checking is done from minute to major, all. And we have also mentioned, like we have also done due diligence of a company. I'll share with just an experience we are doing that, and एक डायरेक्टर थे, उनकी 10th की मार्कशीट नहीं मिली. So that is also we have mentioned in that DRHP. Ki 10th mark sheet we are unable to find. Though that director is a very highly educated MBA the wo kisi, but that level of due diligence is also done. Ki everything should be mentioned clearly. So this is what is done. And now next comes the regulatory compliance. All the law related compliances, review compliances with the regulations, capital disclosure, and every legal compliances should be done. Then the review of promoter group and the group companies. Again, SEBI ISDR will be taking care of this. Review of financial statements by the SEBI itself, and review of all the ROC compliances for directors, resolution. Achha, they will also check whether your company has filed the resolution ki that company will go for an IPO. That decision will also be reviewed in the minutes of the meeting. Next is DRHP filing. Once everything is done, the preparation of the draft red herring prospectus along with the BRLM, जो आपके मर्चेंट बैंकर है उनके साथ आप DRHP फाइल करते हैं, to ensure that all the compliances under all the concerned regulations have been done. Methods of pricing, be it book building or fixed price method, any can be used. Investors allocation. Now this is something Regulation 6.1 and Regulation 6.2. Regulation 6.1 is for the companies which have positive PAT net worth. And for Regulation 2 is for the companies which come for an IPO, but they have negative PAT, like losses, or like that in the case of Zomato or Paytm. Okay, so they brought their IPO under Regulation 6.2. So these are some of the conditions that total issue size ka 50% is reserved for the QIBs, and 60% of the total should be allocated to anchor investors, and 35% is reserved for the retail investors, while in the case of Regulation 2, the percentage goes down to 15% is reserved for the retail investors. So these are all different conditions which you can go through. Next is how a successful IPO. What is the reasons for a successful IPO? Reason is only two: company and its investors. What is the prospects growth opportunity in that company? its business, the integrity of the promoters and the investors who are investing their money from the starting, who are attached with the journey of that company. So these are the reason for any successful IPOs. Then how to identify the potential companies. See, we all are chartered accountants. We have the clients from many clients are there. We have like corporates, individual, retail. So even if we are able to identify one client and motivate that client for an IPO, it's going to be something we have to think beyond tax, beyond just compliances of that client. We have to get involved with the business of the client. And if we suggest them, then they will say, yes, our chartered accountants have really helped us in the business growth, financial growth of the company. So these are the identifying potential companies, how you can identify the potential companies. Very importantly, you all have the clients, corporate clients sabhi ke paas honge. The level of, if you are able to identify even one client in your whole journey of practice, जिसका IPO आप ला सकते हैं, that one client will help you to earn the revenue which you have earned in the पूरे साल का revenue या 2 साल का revenue. एक client अगर उसका IPO हो जाता है, उसी में you can easily earn that fees amount as a referral or a read or as a lead or as a referral to the merchant banker. So it's a very good opportunity and you must explore. और कहीं बाहर नहीं जाना, you just have to explore and see your own clients. So identifying the potential companies, how you can identify them. The promoter's integrity is of the topmost requirement. And being CA, अगर आपका client है तो आप ही सबसे ज़्यादा उसको client को अच्छे से जानते हैं कि how much, what is the character and how much dedication that promoter is having for the organization. So promoters' integrity is of the topmost important, and there should be consistent revenue and profitability. Of course, we have seen in all the slides, preferably over the last 3 to 4 years, the company should be a profit generating company. And the business should be a scalable business. That it's clear roadmap for future growth and market expansion. The company should be clear with its growth, and they have a clear roadmap vision for the next 4 years, 5 years. And if strong corporate governance is very important for the transparency of the operations, and of course the financials should be audited. And the management team, stable leadership with a track record of execution is again very important. We should go for we should see whether the management, uske directors बार बार बदल तो नहीं रहे. If any director management is leaving, then what are the reasons for leaving? So this kind of criterias you can identify. And of course, tentative issue size. So these are the criteria, not necessary. It should this should be followed. लेकिन अगर आप अच्छा क्लाइंट, अच्छा IPO पे मेहनत करना चाहते हैं, तो दिस इज समथिंग स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड विच यू कैन फॉलो. कि for IPO size of SME, you can try to figure out at least 50 CR IPO size and main board का 150 CR. Top line means turnover. So SME, if you have, this is you just filter out your clients ki kiska turnover is minimum 100 CR and above. So they can easily go for the main board, and they can easily go for the SME IPO, and for the main board minimum 200 CR. But this is something not necessary. Agar turnover kam bhi hai, but the promoters and business has the potential, then also you can think about going for an IPO. Then the bottom line, that is the PAT. So for SME, minimum 15 CR PAT is what we look at. But again, the product is innovative, business is innovative, growth, scalability is there. Then you can think about कि बात कर सकते हैं IPO का. And the main board, minimum 25 CR. For main board, PAT should be minimum 25 CR. So it's said that financial risks are less because you are going to put in a lot of efforts for next 1 year, 7 to 10 months to bring IPO in that company. So this is some of the criteria which we think that it's financially safe to invest time in that companies. Now, the industries which are actually not very attractive for the investors, and उसमें आई उन कंपनीज जैसे ट्रेडिंग कंपनीज होती है, प्लेन कमोडिटी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, जिसमें कुछ इनोवेशन या कुछ नया नहीं है, स्मॉल रियल एस्टेट, एग्रो बेस्ड सीजनल बिजनेस है, लो टेक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनीज है. तो अब वी should avoid bringing this kind of companies for an IPO because उसके लिए खरीदार नहीं मिलते हैं. Market is not very interested in investing in this kinds of IPOs and companies. And of course, we should see the sustainability because with ever changing technology, हर दिन कुछ ना कुछ obsolete हो जाता है. तो we have to check whether इस business का अगले 4 साल 5 साल में growth है कि नहीं. This is one of the major factor. Suppose LPG auto, we had one client, jiska, not a client, a proposal came to us. There's a company which was going for an LPG auto, gas stations. But when we have completely gone through, sab kuch acha hai, at present PAT is good, company is growing. But when we think about the next 10 years growth perspective of that company, so we can say that EV is coming and LPG gas is not that much, is not going to, is not expanding. This business is not going to grow. So we actually said no to for that client. This company is not a potential company to go for an IPO. So it's very important to see what is the business of that company and the growth perspective of that company. A proper research is done. And being merchant banker, we do a lot of research with respect to the business or business prospects of that company. We go through the complete process. उसका अगर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग है तो उसका रॉ मटेरियल कहाँ से आ रहा है, कॉस्ट क्या है, फ्यूचर में उसका रॉ मटेरियल कॉस्ट कितना बढ़ सकता है, गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज क्या आ रहा है, what is the process which is followed in future. गवर्नमेंट का कुछ environment related कुछ एक्ट्स तो नहीं आ रहा जिसमें वो कंपनी बैन हो जाएगा. So there are a lot of factors which is to be considered when we decide कि as a merchant banker we will go for that company, we'll take the IPO. So coming on the next slide, merchant banker, of course. So services which the merchant banker provides. So merchant banker can help you in main board IPOs, right issue, transaction advisory, and SME IPOs, and of course open offers. So all these activities are done by the merchant bankers, and this kind of services is provided by them. Okay. So as a merchant banker, we also do all this. And next is essential capabilities of the merchant banker. What we must see while deciding a merchant banker. First of all, we should see the success ratio. What are the past track record of that merchant banker, कि वो merchant banker how it is performing, अभी तक कितने IPOs लेके आया है, कितने IPOs SME हुए हैं, main board हुए, how is the team size of that merchant banker. So all this success, how much successful that merchant banker is, and how are the people in that merchant bank. That is one of the criteria, one of the major criteria. Second is strong deal origination. The merchant bankers should be able to strongly deal the origination. The people in the top management should have good connects with the regulatory authorities. They should have deep rooted connections with the top management of the potential companies, combined with robust sector expertise also. Next is strong execution capabilities. They should be very strong in execution because IPO Lana, it's not a cakewalk at all. The merchant banker should have a strong execution, strong team to execute, strong determination to come up, and of course, the integrity is very important. Once the merchant banker has committed something, then it should continue to execute that with the organization, and strict compliance of all the regulatory requirements should be followed, and standards throughout the transaction process should be there. Then intensive knowledge about the capital market activities is very much required, because सबसे ज़्यादा आपको कहीं ना कहीं compliance में दिक्कत आएगी. We all know in India कुछ ना कुछ रह ही जाता है, छूट जाता है. So if a merchant banker has good knowledge of the capital market activities, lot of activities are involved: book building, share को issue price should be rightly predicted, lot many activities. So in that, a good relationship with the regulatory authorities of the merchant banker as well, and its own knowledge helps a lot. And very important is that strong sales capabilities, supported by a comprehensive institutional research team. Strong selling capabilities should be there of the merchant banker. Like, suppose a merchant banker is there who is also having a demat accounts, lot of, suppose 10 lakhs, 12 lakhs demat accounts are there of the merchant banker itself. So it's very easy for that merchant banker to sell those IPO. They should have a good connections with the news channel, PR agencies, road shows, pan India level good connection, and the retail investors with the retail investor, because now ultimately the sale is the most important aspect, and a good selling team of the merchant banker is important to have a successful IPO. Next. This is overall ecosystem for an IPO, and that is BRLM. Merchant banker is in the center of the complete IPO journey, and it gets connected you with the issuer, legal counsel, registrars, bankers, and the PR agencies, and in turn, which can works with the issuer company and the auditors. They work together, and this is all the ecosystem, how it works. And thank you for your time, and I hope you all got a valuable insight in this short span of 1 hour. I'm able to cover the complete journey of the IPO and throw some macro level light on this. Thank you so much. And if you want to connect with me, you can scan the code, the scanner, scan this QR code, and it will directly, you can drop me WhatsApp on this, and I'll get any of your queries resolved also. I thank you so much, Amit. Here I end my presentation. If anything is there, do let me know.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So now I quickly open the house for the question answer round. If anybody has any query, they can just write down in the QA or yeah. There is the first query from Avinash Singh. What are the opportunities for a CA in IPO process, both directly and indirectly?
Yeah. So directly, indirectly, मैं आपको बता देती हूँ. There's a huge opportunity for chartered accountants. और ये जो IPO है ना, ये chartered accountants के लिए ही है. Okay. आप लोगों के पास clients हैं. You all are in practice, I suppose. If you are in practice, you have the clients who are attached with you from last 5 years, 10 years. आप उनका stat audit करते हैं, उनके tax compliances करते हैं, ROC compliance, you are involved with different regulatory compliances with them. But if you see any of your client कि ये इसमें कुछ growth potential है उसके business में, so you can sit with that client, suggest him the IPO, and you can become an IPO advisor for them. आप उनको अच्छे मर्चेंट बैंकर से कनेक्ट करवाइए, उनके साथ बैठ के डिस्कस करिए, और यू कैन एक्ट एज अ मीडिएटर इन दैट, एज अ मीडिएटर इन दैट. आप उनके, ऐसा नहीं होगा कि वो मर्चेंट बैंक आएगा, आपका रोल खत्म हो गया. एज अ स्टैट ऑडिटर और इंटरनल ऑडिटर आपका तो रोल है. उनके जो 3 साल के कंप्लायंसेस है, उसी में मर्चेंट बैंकर आपकी हेल्प से ही उसके जो लास्ट 3 इयर्स का जो आईपीओ रेडीनेस है वो आपकी हेल्प से ही करवाएगा, तो देयर इज अ ह्यूज स्कोप। एंड वंस यू गेट दैट क्लाइंट लिस्टेड, तो जो ये आईपीओ जर्नी से जो भी वट एवर द रेवेन्यू, सपोज आईपीओ साइज इज ऑफ 300, so that fees and the efforts, everyone get benefited from that efforts. And it's a huge scope. The fees is also in crores. Suppose the IPO size is 300 cr, be it a SME or main board, anything, so automatically that 5 to 7% of the revenue get transferred to the people who are involved in that journey.
Great,
It's a
thank you.
huge revenue. यानी आपका जो साल 2 साल का फीस, एनुअल फीस है, यू कैन जनरेट ओनली थ्रू वन क्लाइंट, एंड वी हैव many clients, chartered accountants who are practice, who are continuously referring their 2 or 3 clients in a year, and it's a good way to become part of their business also. So that's way, and
Coming together.
yeah, it works hand in hand. It's a win-win for stat auditor, a chartered accountant, merchant banker, as well as the organization itself. Because since the promoters are trusting you, they are continuously meeting you, so you are able to provide something additional to them, add value to their business, and they will remember you for the lifetime.
Very true, man.
So
So,
we had done one IPO. मैं आपको share करती हूँ journey. We have done one IPO in May. I'll not take the name of the client. So we just tried to raise around 300 CR IPO size था उसका. That IPO got 99.9 times oversubscribed, and the promoter was able to see 11,000 crores in his escrow account on the day of the listing, and see the overwhelming movement for that promoter, the auditor who were involved in that, and the merchant banker where we were just standing next to him. He was almost in tears. I've never imagined in my life that I'll get 11,000 crores in my account. It's like a very overwhelming journey.
very true, very inspiring, ma'am. So we have another question, ma'am, from Lashman Kumar. How much important the company's SOP and culture to the valuation of the IPO? So I guess he's trying to ask that how the valuation is impacted by the company's SOP and the cultural involvement within the company.
Of course, as I already told, the integrity of the promoters are very important. A proper SOP should be there. Transparency in the transactions should be, of all the transactions, that is also seen. And that's it. The fair due diligence, everything covers that.
So the next question is from Payal Thakur. How merchant bankers and chartered accountants can work together to benefit each other? Basically, the area of opportunity. I guess this has already been answered by you,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes.
So this is we already covered.
So, we can
So
quickly cover if we are not overshooting the time. If you allow me, Amit ji,
sure, ma'am, sure.
so I'll just share my number, so they can also WhatsApp me if you allow me,
Yeah,
or
sure.
can connect. Just a minute. So you can connect me. We all are professional brothers and sisters helping for each other's growth. And I am also committee member of Navi Mumbai branch of WIRC. We are just serving each other professionally. So I'll be very happy to help any of you and to resolve your queries. So I've just shared my number with the participants, and we can quickly take on some of the questions.
Yeah.
Uh,
Another question is from Murli.
पायल जी इज आस्किंग, सर आपने पायल जी का कुछ क्वेश्चन, अच्छा वो हो गया है,
हाँ,
राइट
हाँ,
राइट, दैट वी हैव कवर्ड, वी हैव कवर्ड, या
correct. So we have another question from Murli ji. Do the auditor's profile impact the journey of IPO and listing?
नो नो, नॉट एट ऑल, नॉट एट ऑल. आप अगर प्रोप्राइटर भी हो और आपके पास अच्छा पोटेंशियल क्लाइंट है ना, तो आप ही ऑडिटर रहोगे उसके. and you will get a good referral amount, I can say, if you are taking your journey. So you become that part of that complete IPO and all the expenses. So you will also become a shareholding holder of that fees or whatever the amount is generated. So no, not at all it affects, not at all.
Okay, so I guess what I'm trying to say is there are many cases where the auditor has been changed, or a company is willing to change the auditor because of the low profile or the non-existence throughout the India base or top 20 firm kind of thing. So does it?
Nothing affects, Amitji, nothing affects.
Okay, great, great. So another question from Anishji: How valuation is determined in major 2 3 pointers? So what I guess you
So,
want to ask is the major like 2 3 points which impact the valuation.
so major 2 3 points, again, it's a very wide answer, and it's a very subjective answer actually. So it depends on case to case. Suppose a company is tech based, then all to and some innovative product it has brought, तो उसका पहले का तो ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड नहीं रहेगा, फिर उसका वैल्यूएशन किस तो वो फ्यूचर प्रोजेक्शंस के हिसाब से. सपोज सम मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनी, टेक्सटाइल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इज देयर, तो उसका अलग है. राइस दाल मिल अपना आईपीओ लेके आ रहे हैं, अगेन अ डिफरेंट वैल्यूएशन क्राइटेरिया. एंड देन सपोज अ लैब ग्रोन डायमंड which is also trending, and we are also having two gold companies. We have already worked on that. उसका IPO out भी हो गया है, it's already out. तो every sector have a different valuation criteria. It's a very subjective matter. So ma'am, I cannot suggest a multi-bagger stock. I am not a stock analyst.
Yeah, so that was the last question. I guess any more questions from the any participant? I guess that's it. So it was a very interactive and very full of knowledge session. And I thank you, ma'am, on behalf of AIRC team and our audience. And I would like to express our sincere gratitude for your insightful and informative session today. And your expertise and experience in guiding companies through the IPO process were truly valuable for our attendees. So we appreciate you sharing your knowledge and insights. So thank you once again, ma'am, for your time and expertise. So we hope to collaborate again in the future. I thank you all on behalf of AIRC, and we'll meet again on next Monday on the same time, 5 o'clock, with another speaker and another topic.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Amitji, and thank you everyone for joining. And you can connect me if any queries are there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.